Uniswap is outperforming, and for good reason. The exchange has launched a new product called Launches. Here's the announcement: a web app that aggregates launchpads. Uniswap is still the leading decentralized spot exchange. So is this potentially an opportunity? Now, in the past, the Uni token performed worse compared to Bitcoin because it was inflationary. New tokens hit the market. But that has recently changed. Now Uni is deflationary. Tokens get burned and not minted anymore. Hi, my name is Gerhard. I've been in the crypto space for the last 8 years. I hit my first million 3 years ago, and it is mainly through active trading of altcoins. Now what we see here, that's my track record over the last 2 years. That's when I started to publish my trades in real time. We made 47% per annum. We are currently at an all-time high, while most people in the space actually lost money in the last 2 years. Now every single trade that I make is published here in real time on the website, linked down below. That's all the closed positions. The open positions, they are available to the premium members. Now what we see over here, that's the TVL. So the total value locked, how much capital is currently on the Uniswap exchange. We also see the decentralized exchange trading volume. Both of them very much come in waves. So you've got the typical cyclicality of the crypto market, but we also see a strong correlation, right? When there's more trading fees, then new capital is attracted to the platform. When there is less trading fees, the capital tends to leave. The reason for that connection is that providing liquidity to a decentralized exchange is only worthwhile when the decentralized exchange is actually getting used for trading, because it's the trading that generates the fees, and the fees then become returns for the liquidity pool providers. A lot of trading means a high APY for liquidity providers. Less trading means less APY, thus money flows out of the system. Now that's a chart measured in US dollars. We can also measure this in Ethereum. And then the macro cyclicality of the crypto market is somewhat filtered out. It shows us that the capital on the chain is actually relatively steady, measured in ETH. It's not growing much, but it's also not shrinking much. The recent announcement of launches has helped the price of Uni massively. But once we zoom out a little bit and we look at Uni relative to Bitcoin, the chart doesn't really look that pretty. I prefer relative valuation charts to just the US dollar chart, because in the end, when we buy an altcoin, we want to get outperformance versus Bitcoin. It's all about opportunity cost. Do we buy Bitcoin or do we take on more risk and potentially get more performance? Unfortunately, that has not been the case for Uni in the past. We had lower highs and we had lower lows, and with the recent launch of launches, Uni is outperforming, but it's still in its long-term downward trend. By the way, if you use X, formerly known as Twitter, then feel free to also follow this channel's account over here. I publish data regularly. Make sure though that you follow the right account, so that's @BitcoinStrat. Make sure that you don't follow a fake account. Now the reason for this underperformance was tokenomics. This is the amount of Uni tokens that are floating. In 2020, we had 159 million Uni tokens. That then grew by almost 7x to 1 billion. But there has been a significant update. On the 28th of December last year, we got a huge burn event. So that was over here. Unfortunately, that burn event did not yet help the Uni price to outperform Bitcoin. Since it happened, we went in line with BTC. First we underperformed, now we're coming back up. But the tokenomics clearly have improved. Again, we had an inflationary token at the beginning, then the big burn, and now we see a continued reduction of the supply. It's roughly 13 million tokens per year at the current trading rate. And again, that seems to be quite stable. And it leads to a supply reduction of 2.1% per annum. Now, 2.1% doesn't sound like much, but within the altcoin space, this is actually very good. Most altcoins tend to be inflationary, not deflationary. And so was Uni. And that's why Uni underperformed Bitcoin. Now that it becomes deflationary, there's at least a chance that it could outperform Bitcoin going forward. Now, short term, it's leverage that determines where the price is going. In the last 24 hours, we had 44 million worth of trading on the spot market. but on the perpetual futures market, we had 187 million. Most short-term traders are betting on rising prices, as in the funding rate for Uni is positive, the longs have to pay the shorts, it costs money to get more exposure to Uni. And we can see how, at least medium term, the price is very much impacted by that leverage. Open interest is the amount of bets that are placed on Uni, and in yellow we see the Uni price. When there is more leverage, then the price goes up. When there's less leverage, then the price goes down. And currently we are at an increasing level of leverage, but not yet at historical highs. Now, especially for volatile tokens, I always like to run backtests, so simulations of buying and selling. Instead of just holding the asset, I want to time the market using statistics. And what we see over here, that's a backtest of Uni relative to the rest of the altcoin market. We are finding out the best moving average combination for golden crosses and death crosses. So that's what this chart here is showing. A slow moving average versus a fast moving average combination. We try to figure out how can we best trade Uni. Historically, the best combination was the 6-day moving average with the 63-day simple moving average. That would have given us 24% per annum versus minus 28% per annum with buying and holding. Again, Uni tended to underperform because of the token inflation. The trading strategy also reduces our maximum drawdown, minus 96% for buying and holding, minus 70% with the trading strategy. Still high, but much less compared to just setting and forgetting. And this is then how that performance looks like over time. We use the 6-day plus 36-day simple moving average. We bet on falling prices whenever the faster moving average is below. We bet on rising prices whenever we are above. At the bottom, we see the portfolio value over time. And so this is then how that looks like today. We are bullish since the 20th of June. The momentum is clearly positive, and it takes a major decline for Uniswap to become bearish again. Now, I very much like trading according to those trading rules, according to statistics. And that's why the trading track record looks the way it does. All of those trades are made based on statistics. They are all based on our backtests. So you can simply copy trade whatever I do. There's also automatic copy trading. So there's a Bitcoin trend following strategy backtested that gave 115% per annum over buying and holding Bitcoin. This was launched in October of last year. It's very close to the backtested performance, right? So that's 110% over buying and holding BTC. There's also a copy trading capital pool for trading altcoins. Last year that made 44% annualized. So far we are at 20% annualized. So that's all part of premium. Unfortunately, I can't share the positions that are currently open here on YouTube, but there is this following website in the pinned comments down below. One of the positions that I currently have open and that many premium members have open as well is over here on this website. You can get it completely for free on Telegram by scanning this QR code or by clicking the link, or you can get it via email just by plugging in your email. You will not just get the position, you will also get a tutorial video that explains how to set up that position. The idea is that you can learn more about the strategy that we use, that you can make your first trade and you can make money with that trade. And once you made that money, you can then afterwards decide whether or not you want to reinvest that in the actual paid membership. Feel free to check out the reviews as well. This has been taken from the Telegram channels. After you've made your first money with the premium trade, this is the paid version with even more access. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish here regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time. Cheers.